Alright, hello everyone. We'll go ahead and start the SETA meeting. So first of all, we have some upcoming trips. For just to end this year, we have a bunch of trips planned out. We have the Cal Poly open house on April 16th. For just to end this year, we have a bunch of trips. So we only have let me mute this. Okay, so we only have a couple spots, so please see us right after if you are interested. We have a $10 deposit for that, for you to sign up. You need to turn in your liability and your $10 form or your $10 fee. Oh, sorry. Your $10 fee for that. We also have the CMC Cube going to South Lake Tahoe with the Sign Club. Please see Isabel for that. I believe it's a 3-day trip, and you guys will be going to Nevada. So there are limited spots. How many spots? There's one more spot left. So if you want to go to that, yes. Whoever's the first one to go see Isabel after the SETA meeting, when the sign meeting starts. We also have the BioForge field trip with Dr. Dewey and the BioForge Club. They are going to Stanford and another lab, I believe, the Bay Area, San Francisco. I believe they're also going to that one. It's a 2-day trip. Dr. Dewey wants for you guys to answer a couple questions. Basically, you need to email her and asking why, or answering the question of why you're interested in going to this trip. Do you remember what the other 2 questions were?
The questions that she wants answered is basically just to verify that you guys are kind of STEM major, and that way there's kind of a purpose in you going, since there is only a limited amount of seats. I believe they're along the lines of what's your major, why do you want to go, how will you benefit. We have her email up last time. She kind of talked a little bit about it. They're going to, I believe it was Stanford, right?
Yeah.
They're going to tour the labs and what was it, ALS? One of the labs that are doing research. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Again, if you want her email, just come up at the end of the meeting and we'll be more than happy to share that with you. We also have more information. She kind of sent out an email for us. So I'll kind of stick around. So if you have any questions about that, I can tell you at least a little bit more.
So another one is the SETA end of the year camping trip. We are currently planning a camping trip at the end of the year, May 23rd to the 25th. This is the week right after finals. This is Monday through Wednesday. Point Reyes, if you're interested, we also have a limited number of spots for that, so please come talk to us after. But and the 7-day field trip to Utah, who will we do? Dr. or Mr.
It'll be
Hetherington. Hetherington will be taking 20 people? And
2 vans.
2 vans, so
They can fit in 2 vans.
less than 20 people. I believe we have a $50 deposit for that one, so please get your waiver signed along with your waiver and your $50 deposit. That's how you'll sign up. It's a 7-day, it's a week-long trip. The dates are Monday, May 30th to June 5th.
And
So please look if that does not conflict with anything.
Yeah, just a heads up, because I know I totally wanted to go in here, but I can't because the first session of summer school starts the 31st. So take note of that. And like Bill mentioned, you have to turn in your liability waiver and the $50 deposit in order for you to say, I have a seat. If you only turn in one of the 2, then you're not guaranteed anything.
It's not recommended for you to turn in just one of the 2. You need to turn in both. If you're missing one, just don't just wait until you have both completed, so that that's how you'll sign up. We'll be sending around the SETA, the Cal Poly sign up. So if you want to go, just sign in. I'll send it to here. And another important announcement that we'll be sending out is if you're transferring. If you're transferring, please fill this form up. We have our SETA Mesa SETA recognition ceremony at the end, where we'll recognize all the transfer students. So please sign this form if you're transferring this fall. All right, going on, we have a special announcement from Dr. Rowe that he'll be making.
Unfortunately, it's not a good announcement. Due to improprieties by our officers this year, SETA Club has been canceled for next year. So remember this date, April 1st, 2016, when SETA was built.
Officers or advisors?
Both. Improprieties and criminal acts. Sorry about that. But I'll tell you, in the officers meeting, I saved you from a lot of really bad pranks. Forgive me for that one.
You did. All right, going on. It's official, guys. So, on a lighter note, we have still our nominations to go. These are the nominees so far. If your name is up here, please check your email. I know some of you guys that I said I've emailed did not receive them. So please let me know if you did not receive them. And today is the last day of nominations. Actually, after this meeting is the last day of nominations. So does anyone want to add on to this list at all? Last chance.
Nobody
Or
wants to
this.
nominate anybody.
You can nominate even though they're not here. But I just have to talk to them and accept it. Locked in? All right, so these are your nominees for the election year of the school year 2016 to 2017 SETA. They may wish to decline their nominations if they wish to do so. So if you see any names being gone by next meeting, that's when we'll have our elections. Then they did not wish to participate in the election. On another note, speaking of which, going off tangent from that, next meeting, please, it is important for you to be here. We have that as our election day and also our picture taking day. So this is where we go off to the Giant and take our pictures as a club. So please be here next meeting, which is April 15th. Sorry. All right, going from
April Fool's to Tax Day.
Yes, so these are the nominations. Please check your emails again. And so, without any further delay, yes, Mr. Reddick?
I'd like to make an announcement that there's a GDG meeting tomorrow.
GDG?
Yeah.
This is the GDG Visalia?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a GDG meeting tomorrow. Where is it at and what time?
It's in Korea, 204 from 10 a.m. to 12. If anybody's interested, that's the Google Developer Group. And it's just an administrative meeting. We're going to try to figure out what we want to do this year. We can do another game programming.
Yeah, I'll do it.
something like that.
And Mr. Hampton, do you
No,
know?
no, not on the agenda, but I had just an announcement if I could show a quick thing up on the screen.
Okay.
It's an opportunity for SETA members.
Okay.
As I'm getting this set up, I feel like I want to say a line from Wayne's World. When I saw Larry get up there, I feel like, it's like I'm not worthy. He did such a good April Fool's sort of, straight face lie to all of you. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, good, Mike.
Hey, I know that not everybody in the room speaks Spanish, but I'm publicizing an event that is coming up on Saturday, April 9. This is the Spanish version of this flyer. I'm going to slide the English translation in its place for all those who need this second language. But the event that I'm talking about here happens in a tiny little town in Tulare County that not everybody knows about. I don't know if there's a way I can pull up Google Earth on here. Dylan, do you know if I can maybe just switch this on the screen? I don't want to lose anything you've got. Just so that you can all see what is going on at this particular event and where it occurs. Oops, I guess this computer doesn't have that, so I'll have to do that another time. But if you can picture our county, if you can picture going to the town of Tulare and continuing west and south about 20 to 25 more minutes, there's a small town called Alpaugh. It's just a few hundred residents. Most of them are very poor, but one of the things that kind of adds richness to that community is a pretty remarkable place just on the south side of town called the Atwell Island Project Wetland Display Area. It's a place where if you go there, you walk up a sort of an elevated deck that takes you out over a wetland area surrounded by tules, and almost everyone who I've ever gone there with, including SETA students who've gone and done projects there in the community, they almost always say that when they get out there, they feel like they're, you know, sort of in the middle of the wilderness of the valley as it might have been 150 years ago, because you're surrounded by bird sounds and frogs and, you know, all sorts of interesting things in that little patch of wetland. So at that particular site next Saturday is this event called the Community Nature Fiesta. It's the second year that it will be held. It's an opportunity to find out a little bit about some of the natural lands that we have in the valley. It's a way that this community gets an opportunity to kind of celebrate one of its special features. We're not asking for student volunteers for this event. We're just trying to publicize this so that if anybody would like to go and attend and learn a little bit about this area, you're welcome to contact me. I'm pretty sure that there's some contact information on here as well. So that was the bit of news I wanted to share with all of you.
I think we're taking like 1 or 2 volunteers.
Say it again.
To man the.
That's right. I forgot. Karina, who many of you know if you've seen her out working in the greenhouse, she actually has a pretty strong special connection with this community now. She attended a community meeting about a month ago when discussion of an inter-community trail was brought up, a trail that would connect Alpaugh and an even smaller town called Allensworth, where the state historic park is. Because she attended that meeting and because of her interest in the project and her knowledge about nature and plants and skills in technology, she's now actually working as is intern the right word, Karina?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's working as an intern for the group that I'm president of called the Tulare Basin Wildlife Partners, and she's helping us gather information about water issues and conservation for our website. And she will be at that event, and what she's asking for is if 1 or 2 of you would be interested in attending, and if you got training from her to sort of find out how you could be a volunteer at an information table there, that's sort of the sort of higher level of attendance if anybody was interested in doing that on Saturday night. So Karina's right here. When the meeting's done today, I'm sure that you're welcome to visit and talk to either Karina or myself to get more details about that. Was there anything else you wanted to add then about?
No, we'll already have a list of things if you're interested in volunteering to kind of review that we'll be discussing with any of the attendees. So if you don't know anything that we'll be teaching, we'll provide that for you. And then if we have enough volunteers, hopefully we can, I guess the word is kind of take turns to kind of volunteer, or I'm sorry, to participate in a different event we'll have, so that way you can volunteer and also participate and learn about the different events that we have.
So just to kind of help you picture it, this is not going to be a huge number of people. It's a small town, but people from all around the valley are invited and welcome to attend. There will be school children. There will be people on like nature walks and scavenger hunts. And they may want to ask, you know, what's this plant I found, or what is this flower, or, you know, some basic questions like that, where Karina and I can get information to you to help you, you know, sort of be the answer man, the science guy, you know, for representing COS there at that event that day. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. So yeah, if you want to go, I actually did go to it last year. It was pretty fun. It's a quiet place. It's really peaceful, and it's really nice. So if you want to go, please see Mr. Hansen and Karina right after. So moving on to our speakers of this meeting, we, as mentioned in the email, we will have a panelist. So let's welcome them up. We have Elizabeth Owens, Preeti, Catherine Magnus, Mauricio Gomez, and Rosales, sorry. Other
Another
Mauricio.
Mauricio.
Yes. All right, so if we could just start with our introductions of what are our names, and if we didn't get them already, our transfer university and our major.
Yeah, I really.
So I'm Tess Hernandez. My name's not Sandra. That's like a joke at the school that I somehow acquired. So anyways, my name's Tess. I go to UC Santa Cruz, and I'm majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Owens. I transferred to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, got my bachelor's there in mathematics, and then I went to grad school at UC Merced, finished up my master's there, and currently I'm teaching math up at Las Positas College in Livermore. And yes, I am Dr. O's other daughter.
My name is Pratik Patel. I am a student at Sacramento State currently. I'm going to be doing my last year of electrical engineering at Sacramento State starting next semester. And my emphasis is on control systems.
My name is Mauricio Rosales. I transferred to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and then I'm a civil engineering major.
All right, so we'll go on to our first question. Now that you left COS, what would you have done differently at COS?
Definitely. So well,
First question.
okay.
You want to pass?
Yeah, I'll come back.
The main thing I could think of off the top of my head is it would have been nice to get in with a study group here earlier. Going through my first year, 2 years here, I did 3 years at COS. I was going through the classes and trying to do things all on my own. And it was going fine. But then in my third year, I got in with this fabulous group of guys, and we would study together. We went through differential equations, linear algebra together, and really just supported each other and helped each other out. And that made things a lot more fun and less work for me. So I guess getting in with the study group was a good thing that I wish I would have done earlier. And continued that at Cal Poly would have also been good. It can be difficult, but just make an effort. Talk to someone next to you in class and see if they want to hang out, do some work together.
Yeah, so one of the things I would have done differently is be involved in more hands-on projects, like you guys have a search project here and stuff like that. Because in terms of engineering, and if you want to get ahead in engineering or get an internship when you're at a four-year college, a lot of employers kind of look up for that hands-on experience right out the gate. Because as an engineering major, if you're trying to get your foot in the door and you don't have any project experience and you're still an undergrad, it's very difficult for you to get that first step. So like even having search project or projects in the circuit that the circuit class that Dr. O has, doing those small things and putting them on your resume and handing them to employers really puts you that far ahead of everyone else in terms of getting that foot in the door.
Yeah, so for me, it was more like getting involved at first. So like I didn't hear about Mesa until like my third year coming here, and then like my first 2 years, I really didn't like try as hard as I should have. So like my advice to you would be like just start strong from the very beginning, pretty much, or else you'll be stuck here for 5 years like me.
Yeah, I think that I would have tried to become more involved earlier, because when I was here for my first years, I kind of just did my general ed, so I didn't really see a lot of the same people. But like I did 3 years here as well, so I think like my last year, that's when I got like super involved and like I met everyone, and we had like our big group of friends that took all of our classes together. And that's when I think I really started to like flourish as like a science student and also as like a college student in general. Denny's crew, yeah. So.
All right, next question. How did you choose your transfer institution, and are there any particular steps you took?
So picking UC Santa Cruz was kind of like just like finding who you are just by yourself and like what you need from an institution. So I really liked COS because it was small. I got to know my teachers really well. I still come back and talk to them all the time. And so for me, it was finding a college that was UC, that was big, but also had that small feel. So I really like that about Santa Cruz. There's 10 colleges inside the university. You see all of your individual college students together. So I really like that. So there's like 10 COSs inside UC Santa Cruz. And you get to know all of them. And then,
what particular steps did you take?
okay. So then I also looked at something that was gonna help me. And so like I'm Mexican and I wanted to feel like that I was included in my university and that I'm like Mauricio who complains about every quarter that he's the only Mexican in his class. I don't feel that way because Santa Cruz is the #1 Hispanic serving university in the nation. So I feel very included. I don't feel out of place, so I'm very comfortable there. That was something that was also interesting.
For me, transferring to Cal Poly, honestly, it was the location. I wanted to go to school at the beach in the vacation town of my childhood, and I wish I would have put a little more thought into it, like it sounds like I did. So I knew I wanted to go to that area, and then I knew I was going into the sciences in general. Cal Poly is strong in basically every science, so going into mathematics there seemed like a good choice. When I got over there, I did find it seemed a little impersonal though. And when I decided to go to UC Merced for grad school, I did put a little more thought into that decision. I wanted something that was smaller, more intimate setting, where you can actually get to know more people on a one-to-one basis. And somewhere that felt a little more like home, honestly. I mean, I went to Cal Poly, I had my fun, I was kind of ready to come back to the Valley for grad school. And it felt more comfortable, more like home, and like the people there got to know you and cared about you. So I highly recommend it.
So my process was any school not in the Valley. Yeah, so that was basically it. I didn't want her to go to school up north, and then I visited Sacramento State. It had a good atmosphere to it. I mean, I'm not very big into sports, so and Sacramento State pretty much sucks in sports, so that was another plus. Yeah, that was my process.
So it's always been a childhood dream of mine to go to Cal Poly since I was a little kid. I would always go tour like every time there was an opportunity. So I would go. I liked it. I mean, the diversity is a little unfair. I'm not gonna lie. So it's very kind of like a big culture shock, I guess. Like when I went there, I was like, wow, so many white people. So sorry, it's good though. It's like you mentioned, it's very good in sciences. It's one of like the best engineering schools in California. So I figured, hey, I'm engineering. I want to go there. I like a challenge. They told me I went to go meet with I went to meet with I think it was Daisy, the counselor, and I talked to Dr. O as well, and they both told me like, hey, well, good luck. You know,
Good way.
My GPA wasn't as high as the Cal Poly recommendation, like whatever it's called. But yeah, I worked really hard, and like that's the follow-up question, right? Like the steps.
Yes.
Yeah, so I realized I was like, you know what, I got to study more. So I went to all my classes. I studied a lot. We formed this Denny's crew. Me, Tess, the other one a couple times. A bunch of us that transferred. We would go to Denny's from like 8 p.m. and leave like at 3 in the morning every day. So just work together, study groups and all that, and then I helped out. Yeah.
So the next question is, in your opinion, what sets you apart from all the other applicants that applied to that institution?
Okay. So what set me apart from, okay, so I got my first degree from COS, and I got that degree with like a 3.8 GPA. And then, so that looked pretty good, I guess. And then, Denny's. And then I got my second degree from here with like a 3.5. So I ended up putting on my application that I had 2 degrees with honors from here. And then I also did the RU projects here. I was involved with like SETA. I had so many clubs on there. It was ridiculous trying to remember these things. And then like I helped start ACS here. So I was like one of the founding members of that. And then also I put that I was the first person in my family to go to university. So what else did I put? That was a long application to remember all that stuff. But pretty much, yeah, so I put that it was a lot of like my own drive that tried to get me to go to a university.
Mine, I think, was at least a significant portion GPA. Graduated here with a 3.96. And also experience that I had here. I did the AEW workshops, academic excellence, basically the whole time I was here, I believe, for calculus. And so having that experience and involvement was valuable in transferring. And then I had some other volunteer experience on the side. I was in band and things, did music here as well. So I got involved in other events through music, and that was good too. Kind of broadens the picture a little bit to have a hobby that you're very into. And then for Merced, for grad school, I think it was continuation of good GPA, graduated Cal Poly with honors. And then once you get up to the grad school level, it's more of a match between you and the college interest-wise, it seems. Are you interested in what they're doing research on? Would you be a good fit with their faculty? So your personal statement is very strong in that sense. So I made sure that I did my research on that school and tailored it to show that, hey, I would be a good fit here. So tell them about yourself, be honest, and hopefully they like what they see.
All right, so for me, I don't know if I was that different in terms of the applicants, but when I got there and met other transfer students there, I quickly realized that how much further ahead in terms of the math I was in, not ahead, but like how well prepared I was to tackle the math at these four-year universities. Because the math here is much harder than anything that you're going to go through in a four-year university, point blank. And then it's so true. And you can see it because when you after you take your, like for engineers, for example, after you take your differential equations, that's going to be the hardest math class you're going to take, right? And then after that, in your engineering courses, you're going to start applying that math. And it's not crazy, nonlinear differential equations or whatever. It's simple second constant coefficient, second order differential equation that you're going to be dealing with. But you've dealt with them here so well that you can just start learning the engineering concepts rather than worrying about the differential equations. And other students are caught up on the differential equations and not studying the engineering concepts that are being taught. So in terms of that, that's where I felt that set me apart from a lot of students out of 4 years.
All right, so like as I mentioned before, I didn't start off like good, so my GPA was very low compared to the other applicants. So I had to work I had to do a bunch of extracurricular activities. So I tutored in Mesa, I tutored in the math lab, I ran AEWs, I volunteered for Lila, for UIH.
Yeah.
UIH. And what else did we do? Noche de Ciencias and all that for SHIP. I was vice president of SHIP for a semester, I think. Yeah, and just get involved. I got involved with SETA, and I rose up my GPA. I did really good in all my core classes. My general ed not so well, but ignore that. I did good in all your classes. And also, I think, I strongly believe, I think last year was a diversity year, probably. I think, honestly, I think I felt because sometimes, isn't that how it works sometimes? Applicants, they look at diversity as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, yeah, so.
Universities, that's one consideration.
Yeah. So, so there's that, so. It sounds kind of mean, but it's true. But yeah, it's pretty much that, pretty much what they mentioned is pretty much what I went through as well, too. Kind of why I went last. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, the next question is, did you have any doubt in changing your major? And how were you able to overcome those doubts?
So at COS, I actually started off as a nursing major. And then I was like, that's not for me. I don't want to deal with hospitals and stuff. So then I went to biology. And so then I got my degree in biology. And now I'm at Santa Cruz and I'm doing biochemistry and molecular biology. And I think the second quarter I was there, I was like, I cannot do this. Like, this is just crazy. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking, picking like one of the hardest chemistry majors out there. And then I like talked to one of my professors there and they gave me like this huge pep talk. And so actually I'm still sticking with the same major that I applied with.
I didn't change my major after I transferred, but I changed it many times while I was here. I started off in engineering, was thinking of going into chemical engineering, discovered chemistry wasn't really my favorite. Just went to engineering in general, bounced around to physics, did a music major for a year, got 3/4 of the way through that, kind of wish I would have finished. I ended up settling on mathematics, and specifically I went into the area of applied mathematics because I think that encompassed a lot of the things I was interested in. So engineering, physics, even music, they all use math. So math was kind of the common thing that ran through all these majors that I was exploring and that I enjoyed. So I figured, hey, let's take the biggest, broadest picture here. Let's do applied math. And then if you want, you can get into little specialized areas. You can specialize in engineering or physics or that type of thing. I ended up going into biomathematics in grad school. So just kind of that overall theme of, hey, I like math, allowed me to get into different areas that I like. So, went with math and then didn't change it after that.
Yeah, so I didn't change my major. I stuck with electrical engineering. But the thing I guess I struggled with was deciding what branch of electrical engineering I wanted to do. Because like with, just like doctor, there's multiple things you can do. So with engineering, there's like control systems, electronics, power engineering, signals and systems. I stuck to control systems, which is basically, robots, elevators, remote controls, things like that, because it's a lot more math intensive and it goes, it's a very broad spectrum thing where you can have lots of different applications for it. And it's one of those electrical engineering practices where it's not just strictly one thing. Like power will only deal with power, signals will only deal with signals, but control systems will deal with almost anything. So it's not just one specific thing, it handles a lot, if that makes some sense.
Yeah, mine's kind of the same thing, like I've always wanted to do civil, but when I transferred technically it was this last quarter, I took a design class. So it pretty much covered like all 4 aspects. There was a geotechnical, water resources, structural, and transportation. So they went through they covered each section, and I realized that I liked all 4. So I was like, all right, I like bridges. Oh, that's structural. Oh, I'm gonna deal with like highways and roads. Oh, that's transpo. Oh, I really like hydrology and all that. Oh, that's water resources. I was like, great. So I mean, I still have like 1 year before I have to pick my concentration, but it's getting tougher as I take the classes. But like, other than that, though, it's pretty much.
All right, we have one final question before we open it up to you guys, and that is going from a classroom with an average of 30 students to a classroom with like 100+ students to your transfer university. How did you adapt to it to make yourself shine from that class?
So my first quarter at Santa Cruz, I took organic chemistry. And I remember I was in shock the first day I walked into that classroom. It was a classroom of 500 students. And it was in an auditorium, and I sat in the middle of this auditorium, and I could barely see my professor. That's also when I realized I was blind and needed glasses. So it was crazy. And like to this day, I still walk into classes, and I'm like, wow, there are like 300 other people taking this class with me. So finding time, like, what's the question? How big were my classes and how did I deal with it?
Well, how did you make yourself shine?
Okay, so in Santa Cruz, actually, what we do is, so I take this class with 400 students in this lecture for 3 hours a week, and then that class gets split up into 30-person classes, or even less, like 15 probably. And so you go into this classroom with your teaching assistant, or it could also be with your professor, just depends on when you study with, and they work with you and these 15 other students for about 2 hours a week. So you do get one-on-one time. Like, I know my professors very well. I'm also I'm on first name basis with a lot of them. I've like had coffee with them and asked them to help me. So like I've never really had a problem with like trying to like shine in a class or get recognized, because at Santa Cruz they really want to get to know you. Like that's how a lot of professors like start off like their classes. They're like, hi, my name's Tess or whatever, and like I really want to teach you. And so in Santa Cruz it's not more of like, here, I'm going to give you this information and you're going to work really hard to understand it. It's more of a partnership. And so they want to see you. They want to see you at their office hours. They want to check in on you. They want to answer your emails. So even though I'm in a class of like 600 people, I'm still talking to them. I'm still communicating. They're still helping me. So it's not really that much of a difference from COS because of those 15 student classrooms.
So number one tip, office hours.
Yeah.
Go to office hours, go all the time, go every week, get your face in there, get them to know you. That will help you stand out. If this teacher doesn't even know your name, then, you know, you're just kind of this anonymous being to them. So get in there, show them that you're a person and that you care about what they're teaching you. I never really had the huge class issue. I think my biggest class at Cal Poly was maybe 50 or 60 people, so not that big. But still get into office hours. Yeah, I think that helped me out there, just showing the teacher that, hey, I'm here and I'm working and I care. If you work for them, they'll work for you. So it's kind of a reciprocated relationship. Same thing now that I'm teaching. From the other side of things, that's what I want to see. Like if I see a student's name on a paper and, you know, they didn't do so good and I don't even know who they are, like they've never talked to me, then it's like, well, okay, throw it in the pile. But you know, if it's someone, it sounds kind of callous, but it's true.
Throw the paper on the pile, not the student. I pass along these teaching tips.
Yeah, but when it's impersonal like that, you know, you see it and you move on. But if it's like a student that I know that has come in to talk to me, like, oh, this is Thomas's paper and Thomas didn't do so great, it makes me wonder like, oh, hey, what happened? And then often he'll come in the next week and talk to me about what happened. And then, you know, that helps him stand out. That helps me get to know what's going on in his life. And we can work together to find better solutions to help him succeed. So just kind of generic example there, but yeah, get to know your professors because they do care and they want to help you.
So for me, I again didn't have a problem with huge class size. The largest class as I had was probably like 100 students in there. And again, that was broken up into like 15 student classrooms for the labs. And the way I had a chance to shine is that every lab I had, we have to do demos. We have lab projects that we do in the lab, and then at the end of the lab period, you basically demo that, you know, you demo your project from the lab, and you talk about the concepts to your professor and all that. And if you know what you're talking about when you're demoing your project, then that's just, you know, that's bonus points. And more often than not, there's probably more than half the students in the class that don't know how to demo properly. And if you're the one that knows how to demo properly, then you're outshining all the students there, basically.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit like 50-50. So I'll have a class, like my mechanics class, like both quarters are about 200 students each. And I had like my thermal and fluid classes are about 35, but those, like that professor had like 6 sections of them. So he still had like about 200 students, 180 to 200 students. So I think like my best advice is to like participate in class. Like there's an example in my thermal class, our thermal professor was like, he was kind of very intimidating. So not a lot of people participated, but the ones that did, I was one of them. I figured, hey, might as well, you know? So I went into office hours one day and I handed in I had a problem with my homework. He's like, oh, Mr. Rosales. I'm like, oh, I remember you. I'm really glad that you participate in class. So I was like, oh, all right, he knows my name. So kind of like that, and for like mechanics class, those were split up into like 5 different activity classes in the afternoon, which was kind of like study hour sessions. It was a grad student taking over. He gave us problems on the board. We had to solve them, pretty much it. And one of them was like the professor themselves. So if you get really lucky, you might end up with that person. And it's kind of pretty much what they said, you just gotta get like noticed and all that, and that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you. That was it from us. Now we're opening up to you guys. Do you have any particular questions for them?
All right, so for the engineering majors in the group, differential equations, like you guys said, is the highest math class offered here, but when you transfer out, will you be taking math classes beyond that, like linear algebra or numerical analysis? Or?
If I were you, I would take linear algebra here, because when you get to a 4-year, your linear algebra class is coupled with the differential equations class, and the only thing you get from it is basically solve systems equations, and I don't think that's very helpful. I think having the full linear class here is really gonna help you a lot better, and then having just a differential equations class just by itself is gonna help you more than having those two together.
What's your major? So at Cal Poly, there's two classes, there's linear analysis 1, linear analysis 2. So I have some friends that are mechanical engineering majors, and they're talking about how they have to take the second quarter, which they already took the first. So it all depends, because that, like you said, that class is majority of linear algebra, majority of differential equations. You deal like with Laplace equations and all that. Did you take that class over there?
Yeah, I took both linear systems, but I don't know from the engineering side, but applied math, we had to take them both, and then some.
All right, we'll go from, since you're engineer, we'll go to Adriana.
Okay, I have 2 questions. Could you waitlist the classes? Like, is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay, and when you first start off the class, like, you know how there's, like, you said 500 students or whatever?
Mhm.
Like, as the time goes by, do, like, people stop coming and they leave?
Yeah,
Like that?
so, how we do it at Santa Cruz is like you have 2 enrollment dates, which your first enrollment date you get to enroll in 12 units, and then after that you have to wait for your second enrollment date. So by the first wave, like everything's gone. But when I transferred, or since I have transferred, I have not had any problems getting into any of my classes. So, but if you do get listed, like once grades come out, I guarantee like 100 kids are dropped from the class. And 100 kids on the wait list get on. So it's really fast paced. And then if there is like a huge wait list, they will change the classroom to like help get more students in.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know about Santa Cruz, but at Poly we had this thing called the priority quarter, where you have to choose it. I think for us it's like it's already gone, but how it was though, you choose a quarter to use your priority. So in case like, oh, there's a class that always gets filled up quick, you can use your priority for that quarter and get into the class. Or else, and it all depends on the professor. Some professors like, okay, I have 2 spots left. I'm only taking from the wait list. Or if you just want to crash, I'll be like, oh, plenty of time, just go in there or like that. So it all depends on the professor.
Yeah, and you start getting priority once you start racking up the units too.
Yeah.
So like if you're about to graduate and then you really need a class that's always full, you pretty much get priority.
All right, thank you. Since we are out of time, would you guys be able, or would you guys mind staying after for them to answer questions?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. To our panelists, let's thank them. And so if you have any questions, just feel free to come up with them right after the SETA meeting, and they will be happy to answer your questions. So next, we'll go on to Raffle to close this meeting, and then.
Not everyone got a ticket, so I did a number system now. I'm gonna pass out numbers and then randomly generate them.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Everyone get a number? No, she's right behind you. Everyone has a number? All right. All right.